All right, Austin. One question I bet people have sometimes is why is it called XPlane?
Right. So when I first wrote it, it was called Archer 2 IFR.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So it was to simulate a Piper Archer doing instrument flight. And Piper Archer's an old, 1960s, 1970s airplane, a little 180 horsepower, 4-cylinder engine. And I was flying that out in Southern California. And I was taking instrument currency, and it's really hard to pass the instrument currency test back then because I was new at it. And so I wrote a flight sim to do instrument flying in the Piper Archer. So it's called Archer 2 IFR. But here's the thing, there's no way Piper was going to give me all the flight dynamics on their airplane for a couple of reasons. One, somebody would say it's proprietary. Two, I seriously doubt they even have it anymore. They don't have anything other than the POH, the Pilot's Operating Handbook, which is the documented performance of the airplane. They don't have all the, roll rates and yaw rates and accelerations and, stability derivatives and all that probably. And because this airplane is so dang old, it was certified back before, possibly before people even recorded all that. And so I seriously doubt they would have all the information I want, and they wouldn't give it to me even if they did. And so I was like, well, how am I going to figure out how this airplane flies? And the answer is, I'd take the wings and break them down into a bunch of little pieces, same with the tail, same with the prop, break them down into pieces, and then find the force on each little bit of the airplane, which is called blade element theory. And then once I did that, I realized that it could work for any airplane, not just the Piper Archer, right? So I did it because I did not know any better way to make the Piper Archer fly right. But once I did it, I saw it would apply to anything, any aircraft at all. So I called it XPlane because it's any airplane.
So X is like a, what's it called?
Stand-in.
Yeah, I forget
abbreviation.
What you call that. Like you're solving for X kind of.
Yeah, a variable. It's a variable. Yeah, X is a variable that could be anything, any airplane.
Yeah, variable. That's what I'm.
Yeah, Yep, it's just a variable. It can be anything. Yeah,
so basically, you're saying you could plug any plane into XPlane.
That's the whole idea. Yep. That's the idea. Now I have to couch this by saying that's the idea, not, XPlane can do anything in the world perfectly, right? I can't say that because, that can't be true. But for a huge, huge range of airplanes, a very wide range of airplanes, it gives a very good result. Airplanes, helicopters, jets. Everybody watching this video already knows this. Well, it gives a very good result for a very wide range of planes.
That's why there's a lot of large manufacturers of airplanes that are customers of XPlane. I don't want to say the names because I don't know if they're
if they want to be, if they want.
All the big names, I've seen them. Because,
well, all the airlines, I shouldn't say all the airlines, all the aircraft manufacturers use it, military uses it. It's used by a tremendous number of companies because they can put the design of an airplane into PlaneMaker, fly the thing in XPlane, see how it flies, and get a decent guess, pretty darn decent guess, as to what the real airplane's going to do. And here's something interesting. Every now and again, somebody will come out with an airplane design that they'll shop around to the aviation media and the aviation magazine saying, this airplane's going to be incredible. This is going to go faster and farther and higher than any airplane ever, and it's going to use less fuel, it's going to carry more weight, and I've got this disruptive technology that's going to make it all, we're going to do better airplane than it's ever been done before. And they publish, images of it, right? And the media, they just re-quote whatever they're told, right? They just babble whatever somebody else tells them. And so then I see the photos of the airplane. I put them in PlaneMaker based on the photos, put in the power based on the engine they say they're using, put in the weight based on the weight of the closest airplane that exists, and I fly it. I fly it before the airplane's ever built and before anyone's verified the claims. And I can think of at least 2 cases off the top of my mind, and I'm not going to mention the aircraft manufacturers by name, but I can think of at least 2 cases where I put it in PlaneMaker, I flew it first, and I was like, no, it's not going to do what they say. You'd be better off with an existing airplane. This new one's not going to actually help you out any. And actually, no, I can think of 3. I just thought of a 3rd case. And in every case, sure enough, the manufacturer wound up either going bankrupt or the airplane wound up underperforming and only selling for reasons that are not related to its performance. So, and this is a $59 app. With a $59 app, I was able to see that maybe a $100 million aircraft program was not going to work out the way they were quoting. So it's objective. It's very, very objective. It really doesn't care what you want to hear for an answer. It does the math and gives a pretty darn good prediction. of what the real airplane is going to do. Now, it does have its weak points, right? Transonic flight, right between subsonic and supersonic, when the rules start going inverted over the wing, that's not going to be its strongest suit. Blended wing bodies, that's another tricky one, because the fuselage has some lift, some drag, it's part body, part wing. That kind of goes off the rails as far as like published rules. I got good published rules for long, slender bodies from Missile Code, which is what, basically what we use for fuselage, long, slender bodies. And I got really, really good math for wings. But blended bodies aren't either of that, you see. So XPlane does have its weak point. I'd say blended wing bodies and transonic aerodynamics are two areas where it starts to get more, of an approximation. But if you do something like a glider with a long, high aspect ratio wing, a long, thin body, and no propulsion system, you can absolutely get everything to within 1%. No question at all. And then you get into powered aircraft like the Cessna 172. Well, now you get into these propeller dynamics, which are so odd. And so then, maybe give up another couple percent of accuracy. But I got my Lancer Evolution in there now, which everyone will be able to see in XPlane 12, and it sure flies just like the real airplane, that's for sure. So it's a pretty darn good approximation. Not perfect, and it does have its limits, but it's a pretty darn good approximation, I'd say.
All right, well, thanks.
Yep.